And my first guest tonight says no one wants war, but all options tonight are on the table. Joining us is the President's Deputy National Security Advisor, KT McFarland. KT previously served in the Nixon, Ford, and Reagan White Houses, and it is good to see you, KT. Let me turn to the issue of this missile. It has been judged to be absolutely a failure.
Yeah.
And why? Yeah. And why the test today? Why did Un choose today to fire this missile and to embarrass, one would think, himself again with another failure?
Well, I doubt if he did it because he thought it would fail, Lou. But Kim Jong-Un has shown that he likes these anniversaries. He likes to make a big statement. This one, failed pretty significantly. It's the 10th time he's tried a missile test while President Trump has been in office, and the last 3 of them have failed.
Yeah, and so one would think that with that record, 3 straight failures, that he would expect it would fail, particularly since it's the older version of the Scud-like missile. To what purpose?
Well, I think what he's trying to do is to rattle the cages, and he's also trying to send the message that he is developing nuclear weapons. He's already tested nuclear weapons. He's tested, I think he's done some 30 tests since Kim Jong-Un, has been president of North Korea, and he is working his way down the to-do list. He wants to have a the ability to deliver nuclear weapons to the Korean Peninsula, to our allies in Japan and South Korea, and also ultimately to the United States. He's not there yet. He does not have an intercontinental ballistic missile that would go from North Korea to the United States, but that's his goal, and that's why President Trump has put this as his first priority. That's unacceptable. We do not want to have a North Korea that can threaten the United States with nuclear weapons.
The President's comments on Kim Jong-un, I'd like to share them with our audience. Quote, "He's 27 years old," said President Trump of Un. "His father dies, took over a regime. So say what you want, but that is not easy, especially at that age. I'm not giving him credit or not giving him credit. I'm just saying it's a very hard thing to do." Yeah. This is a different tone on the part of the President toward this despot who is threatening the world with a nuclear weapon program, not yet deliverable by ICBMs, but certainly deliverable.
Yeah, and I think also the point is this is he's a young leader. He's making his whole objective is to have a military power and to have nuclear weapons. He doesn't feed his people. He doesn't have economic development for his people. All he is a leader who wants to have nuclear weapons to threaten the world with. And the problem with him is not only is he doing this, but he's young and he's a risk taker, and that gives us even more reason to rally our allies in the region, to talk to the Chinese, and to get the world together to stop this.
To get the world together, at this point, the United States is the world. The President obviously relying principally on President Xi Jinping to help with what is a client state at the very least, a puppet state that perhaps a more realistic term. We know, because Secretary of State Tillerson said that the President has asked the Chinese to be ready to provide sanctions against North Korea. Do you believe that North Korea is going to take responsibility for what it has allowed to be created on the northern Korean peninsula?
Well, we'll see. President Trump met with the Chinese President Xi Jinping in Florida about 3 weeks ago, and people thought they would probably talk 10 minutes one-on-one. They talked for hours one-on-one, and they really got along. They really talked honestly and frankly about what worried them about the Korean Peninsula and other parts of the world. They talked about the relationship, and the Chinese president said he would help. Now, President Trump's not naive. We'll have to see if they're willing to do it and if they're able to do it. But so far, we're going to let the Chinese play it.
Let's assume that they're not able to do it, that they choose not to do it, whatever the volitional characterization you want. The United States, the President has just said that he is very concerned about the prospect of a war with North Korea. Is it the judgment of the National Security Council, this President, our military, that there is a maneuver here by the Chinese to put the United States into conflict with North Korea rather than help? Or is there a judgment that there is some interest, and I mean real interest, on the part of the Chinese that would be served by stopping any further development of nuclear weapons by Kim Jong-un?
Yeah, well, as the president says, you know, we're hoping that China understands that North Korea is not an asset to them, but a liability. And the liability is not just to the South Koreans, to the Japanese, to the United States, but to the entire region, and then works with us. But look, if the Chinese aren't going to help or can't help, we are building defensive systems. We are going to build, you know, more effective defensive systems in the United States. We put the Carl Vinson aircraft carrier is sailing into the Korean Peninsula region, and you know, and those are just military and defensive things. We also have the ability, either through the United Nations or even unilaterally, to put on sanctions, and not just little slap on the wrist sanctions, but significant sanctions that can really start shutting down the North Korean economy.
Yeah, and Admiral Harry Harris saying and making it very clear that he and the Pentagon believe that this threat is grave, it is serious, and that it has been inversely, inferentially, that we've understated the threat over 2 or 3 administrations. Are we confident that we have the ability to stop that program militarily?
Well, look, the risky thing, Lou, is to do, as you just pointed out, 3 administrations. Clinton administration, Bush administration, Obama administration, they all tried, they all failed to stop North Korea's program. We are now to the point where it's imminent. You can't kick this can down the road any further. North Korea will have nuclear weapons capable of reaching the United States before the end of President Trump's first term. He said that's unacceptable. You know, President Trump's not going to tell you what he's going to do. That's one of the secrets to his success. He doesn't telegraph to the other side what he's prepared to do. But he is prepared to stop it. Well, but President Trump's prepared to take whatever means are necessary to prevent North Korea from having nuclear weapons that threaten the U.S.
As I say, I ask a slightly different question. Are we assured that with military means we can stop that program?
We will do what we have to do to stop the North Koreans from having nuclear weapons that can hit the United States. And I won't go into any details, but I think you can take the inference from that.
I will work on it over the following hours. I think I take your point. KT McFarland, as always, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.